Hey everybody, here we are at Bradner Community Gardens in Seattle. Let's go for a virtual tour of the garden. Rosemary's blooming. The air is so fragrant with these wonderful smelling flowers like this hyacinth. Beautiful color, huh? Here we have a flowering currant. The hummingbirds and the pollinators love this plant. The hellebores are still blooming since the winter. This is early spring. This is the end of March. It is gorgeous Oregon grape. Also loved by the hummingbirds. See its prickly leaves. Reminiscent of holly, isn't it? But it's not. A little windy today. Look at this little miniature narcissus. Behind it is a hops vine. The leaves are just starting to come out. And this summer, this entire fence will be covered with this hops vine. You won't even see the fence. Quite amazing. Here we have calendula, which is always blooming in Seattle. Calendula is really good for the skin. A lot of people, including myself, will dry the blossoms and then just soak them in olive oil. And then you can rub the oil into your skin, or you can combine it with other butters and, like cocoa butter or shea butter. It makes a great skin moistener. And here we are approaching the children's area. They love that tractor. And here are the chickadees. This is the lavender demonstration garden. They have Spanish lavender, English lavender, and French lavender. And look, there's a little bit right there, just starting on the Spanish lavender. It's the first one to bloom. Look at this beautiful swath of grape hyacinths. Daffodils are still going strong. Looks like they're dancing, doesn't it? There's a poem about that. Dancing with the Daffodils. Here we have the demonstration garden. All of the food produced in these plots is donated to the local food bank. Here's an enormous lavender shrub. I think we have onions or garlic here. You can see mustard over there. Brilliant yellow flower. Look at the color of this Swiss chard. Beautiful colors. Here's a plot. It's nice and rich and fertile and all ready to start planting. Here we have some collards that have gone to flower. Still tasty. Listen to those birds. So things are just starting to come up or go to seed. So this is arugula, which has been growing all winter long. And now it's flowering. But it's still delicious. Look at this gorgeous purple sprouting broccoli. Almost looks too pretty to eat. Here we have some borage. Those flowers are edible. They taste like cucumber to me. Can you see the fine hairs along the stems and the leaves? Very, very fuzzy. Not prickly, though, just fuzzy. They look like shooting stars, don't they, the flowers? Oh, look at that bee. Nice. This is the shed for Bradner Gardens. Here we have artichokes. Isn't that a beautiful leaf? Borage growing under the shelter of the artichoke leaves. And similar to artichokes is cardoon. And here you can see they are side by side. This one over here on the right is the artichoke leaf, and the much larger leaf is the cardoon plant. Very soft and beautiful. You can eat the cardoon, the stem, but it also just makes a great ornamental plant. It'll grow really tall, have big stalks that are probably going to be about 5 or 6 feet high in this spot. This is our gazebo that was designed by and built by the University of Washington landscape architecture students. And the roof is supposed to resemble that of a cherry tree leaf. Can you see that? The underside is as beautiful as the top. See its veins as though it's a leaf? See the plots, they are just getting prepared for planting. Still a little bit early. This will be the children's garden. They always have a nice grape arbor. Delicious grapes. These are pretty daffodil. How do you like our Bradner scarecrow? Or garden goddess, whatever you want to call it. And there behind it is our windmill, which pumps water up out of a little holding pond underneath it. She's got a lovely silk dress. It's very silky. This is our bee enclosure. Inside, normally, are beehives. It's empty right now. Perhaps we'll have some beehives there this summer, though. Those are the three principal bees, apparently. The worker, the queen bee, and the drone. All essential to a beehive. That flicker. Noisy little bird. Looks like the slugs have been feasting on this old broccoli plant. You can see just a few little tiny broccoli flowers. Another flowering currant. Isn't it beautiful? Here's our composting station. I think there's some nice compost in here ready to go. Let's see. Oh yeah. And more compost is curing. Nothing in there right now, but once the season gets going, it'll be in full swing. Look, here's some more borage. This is my garden plot. I've just uncovered it from the winter. And already you can see that the echinacea is starting to come back. And here I have some hyssop. And we've got yarrow, thyme. That's about it for now. Look, someone's got some lettuce that overwintered. Looks delicious. Rhubarb. Look, there's a rhubarb flower. Look at these cabbages. They overwintered. Our Seattle mild winters allow us to be able to grow some of these cold crops. This was a pyramidal, I think you call it, cabbage. Grows like a pyramid instead of a round ball. There's another one. But look how gorgeous the leaves are. Some Swiss chard in there too. We're going to head down the Winter Garden Trail, starting with this incredibly fragrant osmanthus shrub. Oh, it smells so good. The hellebores have been incredibly productive and beautiful this winter. And they're still hanging on. Look at this beautiful paper bark maple. The skin exfoliates. I should say the bark, not the skin. What a lovely place to sit in the shade of the jasmine vine. This is one of my favorite trees, a contorted hazelnut tree. Look at that moss. See how it's all contorted and twisted? Those long things that are hanging are called catkins. Those are actually the flowers of the hazelnut tree. Beautiful. Look, the first tulip that I've seen anyway. What a beautiful color. And here's a white flowering currant. The hummingbirds love to hang out in this spot because of this Oregon grape and this flowering currant. Sounds like the crows do too. Remnants from last summer. And right above these daffodils, we have a gorgeous white cherry tree. Let's see if I can get a good close-up. I thought we could do something with this cherry tree. Let's go inside. So with it being cherry blossom season, I thought that we could do an activity based on that theme. This is a rather large picture of a cherry tree that I did with some clients a while ago, but we are going to do a much smaller version. Okay? Okay, all right, so here is a much smaller version of our cherry tree. This was painted by one of my friends. This is using homemade paper. If you don't have homemade paper, that's fine. You can just use regular old printer paper, white printer paper. And that's what I did with this one. And what I used to make this is these materials right here. So I have pink crepe paper. You could use tissue paper. And when you crinkle it up, you can make these, what I believe look like cherry blossoms. I don't know. What do you think? Not bad, huh? I also used something I figured everybody would have at home right now, toilet paper. And when you crinkle those up, I think they make a pretty good looking cherry blossom. I also used cotton for white cherry blossoms. I used construction paper for some of the cherry blossoms, especially those along the ground. I was trying to make it look as though the cherry blossoms were falling onto the ground like pink snow. I also used pink crayons. You could also use colored pencils. You can use just a plain old gray pencil and perhaps a marker. Also need perhaps is some paint, if you have any of that at home. Watercolor is great. And lastly, glue. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to grab my sheet of white paper here. And I'm going to start. I'm going to leave these cherry blossoms in a place where hopefully you can see them as inspiration. If you happen to have any in your house or in your yard, and you can get them indoors, they really do cheer you up. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to start by using my marker. You could use a pencil as well. In fact, maybe I'll just start with the outline of the tree trunk in pencil. Kind of just go up that way. There we go. Sometimes they weep too, don't they? There are weeping cherry trees. So I'll make some branches that look like they're weeping and others that are not. And you can just make them however you wish. There's no right or wrong way. There we go. I think that's pretty good. I think I'll just go over it with my marker so I can see. I think maybe I'll just do the marker on the trunk, because I like the lightness of the branches in the top. See, there we go. So far, that's what we've got. I think now I will fill it in with some brown paint. This is watercolor. It's very watery. You can see that it starts out really dark down here, and then it lightens up as you go to the top of the tree, which is fine. That's the way it looks sometimes. Again, you can just kind of play and add even more branches if you'd like. I love when people are doing it together, because everybody's turns out so different, but just as beautiful. Just like in real life, right? No tree is the same as another. All right, a little more up here for these branches. There, so we've got our structure. Yeah. Now it's time to add the cherry blossoms. This is a little bit time consuming, but that's okay. We have no place to be, nowhere to go right now. So I just crinkle them up to make tight little balls. And you take my glue and hopefully it comes out. It must have hardened over. There we go. Like that. And they can just be randomly placed. Or maybe you have a specific design. That's fine. I almost picked up a real cherry blossom petal. Wouldn't that be pretty if we could somehow preserve those onto the paper? Unfortunately, I think that they would probably dry up and turn brown. You could try it. It's kind of fun to really pinch these papers together, crinkle them up. And it's okay if you don't get it real tight. You can just do it sort of a light crinkle like that. And that's pretty too, isn't it? Sort of like a larger blossom. How about some white cherry blossoms? I've got my toilet paper. Here's my roll. See, got plenty of that. I hope you do too. I've already crinkled up some of them. I'll do some more. Looks like maybe one square makes the perfect sized cherry blossom. Have any of you ever been to Washington, D.C. during the Cherry Blossom Festival? It really is quite spectacular. It's happening right now. My daughter lives there. She sent me a picture of herself walking her dog in what looks like pink snow all over the ground. All right, I think I'll add some cotton, some softer petals. Just if you get some cotton balls, all you need to do is just pull off a little bit like that and squish it up. Yeah, it's like really using your fine motor skills, isn't it? What do you think? They're resembling cherry blossoms. Okay, I think I'll add some construction paper. I think maybe I'll tear up the pieces first. Sort of looks like mosaic, doesn't it? In a way. Here we go. Looks like it's raining cherry blossoms. There. I'm going to glue mine mostly down at the bottom so I can make what looks like pink snow. Hopefully the snow has finished falling wherever you are, because spring is officially here. Maybe I'll add a few up here as though they're falling. Why not? Let's see. I think now I will use some crayon just to see what that looks like. Wow, that's a really intense pink. It's pretty. What I love about these cherry blossoms, if you look up close at the bud, you see how it's a really deep pink? Almost matches this color right here. And then it fades into this more muted, a paler shade of pink. Here's a different shade, I think. Oh, maybe that's the same one. This is my darker one. They're similar. Anyway, I'm just going to keep on adding more cherry blossoms all around. And I think I'll add some painted cherry blossoms as well. Could even paint the cotton balls or the tissue paper. There. What do you think? How's yours looking? Wondering if I should add anything else. I really do love this pink tissue paper. I think I'll add a couple more of those. Maybe a bundle of them weeping down here. Little cluster. There. I think that's pretty good. So what I did with this one is I mounted it on a pink of a shade of construction paper, pink. Some other colors you might try. I love this blue. Reminds me of blue sky that you often see behind a cherry tree. You could even paint the cherry tree directly onto the paper, the colored paper. Try that. Other shades we have here. Red. Really brings out the cherry red of the cherry blossom. And this is a pretty color too. Reminds me of Easter. Purple. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this activity, and I hope that we can do it together in person one day. Happy cherry blossom season.